Down, down, do, do, do. Down, down, do, do, do. Well, its top line is not for rent. You put it down as hotline in your face. But you hope for his discontent. Those changes are go-to-market related. Today's Tom Soy, he's a top-line hotline. All right. Welcome to Topline Hotline. That was one of the sillier ones. They're all fairly silly, though.
One of the sillier ones. List of very serious ones.
It's a yeah, I'm normally very earnest. Well, it's that short segment where we answer burning questions about go-to-market. I'm joined by AJ Bruno, CEO of QuotaPath, Atsa Zaman, CEO of Sales Talent Agency. And Asad's got a question for us. Let's dive in.
Well, Asta doesn't have a question. AJ has a question this week, Sam. Yeah.
Oh, shoot. AJ,
I've got the question.
You can see that I'm very focused on this Topline Hotline, and I'm not getting text messages from people that I'm trying to manage my anxiety around that might move me off my center.
Yeah. If you didn't like Sam's ditty, give us 5 stars in the
yes. If you liked it, also give us 5 stars.
That's it. 5 stars. Okay, this question comes from the Pavilion Slack channel, and Austin, I'm going to ask you this question first. So it says, "Hey, I'd like some sales leadership advice for anyone willing to give it. I'm debating with my CEO about which of these 2 problems we should solve first. Both involve the same AE. AE is creating meetings with other people on the team to complain. At least one other AE, there are 4, has told me about this, and that is really negative. The AE doesn't trust me yet. We haven't been working together long, even though we've been together at the company for nearly a year. My boss says to fix 2 first. I say 1 is toxic, and that needs to be shut down immediately. The AE should be exited from the business. If not, this AE is a problem of the team in terms of performance, but is still doing well. What do you all think?" Oh, Asid, what a pickle. Like, come on, give us the answer in a couple different words.
I think if the person is complaining about something that is legitimately complaint worthy, like you have to ask yourself that, is it okay for this to happen? And I think there are very rare cases, maybe 1 to 2% of cases where maybe it's okay. Maybe we've made some mistakes and we know that it's going to create some annoyance. And so we need to tread carefully. But in 98% of the cases, I don't think you have 2 problems. I think you have 1 problem, and that problem should be fired. And that's it. Like, I think, or at least this is how I think about it. My tolerance for toxicity, for politics, for bringing other people's energy down is 0%. Even if you were the number 1 employee, it's 0%, because there will be other number 1 employees. But that type of energy in a sales team or in a company just generally, it hurts momentum so much that there is almost no reason to allow for it. So I think you should ask yourself, like, what could I have done to build more trust? Did I do things wrong? Like, you can ask all those questions, but now this has happened. And if you think it's not one of those 1 to 2% cases where it's you and the organization that made mistakes that justifies this behavior, if it's not that, you need to let go of this person and set a standard out in the team that this type of behavior, it's zero tolerance. And I think once you do that, what you will realize is other people in the team don't want meetings in their calendars where people are bringing their energy down. That hurts their day. They'll appreciate this. They want to be in an environment that's not political and not toxic. And so I think the team will appreciate it. And it'll make your life a lot easier. And so you should probably just fire this person.
Yeah. In the words of my first sales manager, Jeff Martins, they're gone. That's a pretty easy one. Sam, you agree with that?
You know what's interesting? And you're probably the nicest of the 3 of us, AJ. You're the most team focused. But when we're at the CEO summit and people say, how many people, there's always a discrepancy between, it's rare that CEOs, when interviewed and pressed, regret parting ways with difficult employees. It's very rare. Yeah. In fact, I've never heard of a situation. And so I think it's a sign of an experience when leadership teams tolerate mischief and they tolerate toxicity. And I just agree with Asid. It's a huge distraction, and it's I just think people think like we can't make it without XYZ person. And I just always remember Brett Hurd, or is that his name? The founder of Bizarre Voice.
Brett Hurt. Oh yeah. I have a phenomenal Brett Hurt story, by the way, as a side note. Like
I
the
would love
best
to
Brett
hear
Hurt
it.
story.
But I was at the First Round Capital CEO Summit many years ago when I was not a CEO, but my CEO brought me, and he said, "Always fire the brilliant jerk." And this person is not even saying that the jerk is brilliant.
Yeah.
They're just saying he's a jerk or she's a jerk. So I don't know if is there a gender assigned?
No.
My point is that there's no room for that on the team.
Yeah.
We need people that believe in what we're doing. It's hard enough as it is. It really is. That's what I think.
Employees have to be force multipliers. Like, they have to help you create momentum. They cannot be the ones that are slowing you down by doing things of this nature. AJ, maybe for you, if you could click into the following. So one of the things that was really interesting in your question was that this CEO was saying, go fix your trust problem rather than go fire this person or go fix this other problem. That to me was shocking to hear. Number one, what should a sales leader in this situation be doing? Because it seems like you're with a CEO who's a little bit scared to let people go when this type of behavior is going on. This makes it really difficult for a sales leader to be effective, because you need to be almost militant about these things, but it seems like you have a CEO that's not willing to say, this is a red line. If you cross it, here's a problem. Thoughts on this part of it?
I've never talked or spoken to a CRO that doesn't have full like hiring, and hiring's one thing.
I have
that isn't allowed to let someone go on their team.
Yep. Oh, yeah. It happens a lot. You know where it happens a lot, Asid? In Canada.
in France,
Canada.
France and Canada.
Not surprised.
Freaking Germany. It's enough. Yeah. It's enough with Canadians.
Listen, our employment philosophies are inspired by Catholic marriage. You're in. This is forever. Let's figure it out.
Okay,
it's problematic.
To answer your question, I told my wife, Angela. Angela runs a business and was having a challenge with her employee. And I used Sam's line, and I love this line because it's so good. Ooh. What you allow, you encourage.
That's KD's line, just to be clear.
Kevin Dorsey Kevin Dorsey is you said exactly. When you said KD. Yeah. Okay, well, fine. But Kevin Dorsey by way of Sam Jacobs. That's what I'm going with. Do I get to tell my Brett Hurt side story at this point?
I mean, as long as we're not going to be sued, go for it.
Oh, no, not at all. I actually think Brett loves this story too. Maybe he doesn't. So Brett at Dream Adventures at my first company, 2012, Bizarre Voice had just gone public and was all the rage in Austin. There's a really sad story with this company, Power Reviews and Bizarre Voice, and like monopoly antitrust. It's all public information. There was something in a sales enablement one pager that said like, we're going to go crush there's no competition, so we're going to kill it. And like it became this whole DOJ thing. Oh. So they actually had to spin out Power Reviews from this after going public. But the story is that Brett was doing his own investing, and he came and spoke to the Dream Adventures class. He had my co-founder and I did something that was brilliant when we did these like open office hours with people like Brett coming in. We always went last because you only had like 20 minutes, but we always went like 2 hours with the person because they just loved it. So that was tip one for you all entrepreneurs out there. Brett invited us to his house to pitch him and his wife on Trendkite. So, but he had to cancel. Like we flew into Austin from Philly, and he was like, "Hey guys, unfortunately my wife got sick today. I have to cancel," or something like that. I'm like, Brett, we flew to Austin to meet with you. You're not canceling. And he's like, okay, I'll do it at like 9 p.m. at night. So we get there at 9 p.m. at night. He had just moved to this house, and we walk in, and there's this 30-foot giraffe and this gong, because he was kind of like known in the Bizarre Voice sales world for this gong. And we're like totally enamored. Like we go and sit down, and his wife's there, and we're pitching him on Trendkite. And he's like engaged. His wife's just like asking questions around, well, we'll search Brett's name in the news. And so of course we have all of these like searches that come up with like the DOJ. It's like all negative press. So like, oh, don't look there, just like look over here. And so we leave, and Matt and I are like, okay, we're good. And he comes back, he's like, hey, I like it, but you didn't sell my wife, guys, so we're out. And years later, we sold Trendkite, and I've heard, and I've talked to Brett about this as well, but from other investors, like it's the one investment that he wished he had done that he didn't end up doing. So,
Oh wow,
yeah, Brett's fantastic, super knowledgeable, very very well connected. Had a fantastic story. He's running Data.World, which is a customer of ours today. So,
Oh, cool.
yeah, shout out to Brett Hurt. There's my Brett Hurt story.
To Brett. Look at that. Good story. I like that.
Great story. I will just echo what AJ said, which is that my point is about inexperience is also related to if the hiring manager managing a person does not have, there needs to be checks and balances, but they should have the authority to part ways with difficult employees on their team. And if they don't, all you're doing is undermining them.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Because what's the impetus? The CEO saying, I mean, I can see the CEO saying, hey, please try to work it out with this person. But if that's happened and the person's like, I can't work with this person, I need to part ways, and you're blocking them, how on earth are they supposed to manage that person?
Yeah.
I don't see that as being viable.
It's ridiculous. It's also like on the other side of it, on the hiring front, like there's this. So you want to be scientific in terms of how you hire. So you want to have a scorecard, and you want to have a hiring committee, and there's assigned roles in terms of which element of the scorecard which person is trying to qualify against, and what roles do all of us play. But because of the name of it being a hiring committee, sometimes companies start thinking that it's hiring by committee. And that is the worst way to hire, is by committee. And I think it's really important that hiring
Hey, Atsid, I think that's the worst way to do anything is consent.
Yeah, it's this committee-based approach. It doesn't mean you don't get stakeholder alignment, right? Like you get alignment, you get opinions, you do all that stuff. But when it comes to hiring, you've got to have conviction that you're hiring this person. And sometimes people that you have conviction to hire, other people might not have that conviction. And you're the expert, you need to be able to make that call, and the repercussions on your head as well. So you need to have the freedom to hire and the freedom to fire. And these things I don't think should be committee decisions at all. At all.
Great Topline Hotline, mostly because of Sam's Ditty. Sam's Ditty crushed it.
Wow.
It was. I don't know if it crushed it, but come back next week and we'll try to crush it again. Next time, that'll probably be the only Rush appearance on our melodies, because there's just so many bands to get to, so many different artists.
There's just
so many different people. All right, everybody, wherever you are, I hope you smiled when you listened to this. I hope you looked up at the sun. I hope the sun was shining, and I hope you said thank you, God. Even if you don't believe in God, why don't you just give it a shot? Just try saying it. Thank you, God. Have a great day, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.